Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shlog. We took a week off. We had a lovely time over Thanksgiving. Zach spent most of his time flying and crashing his new RC airplane. So that was awesome. I will be doing that soon. By the way, Zach and I are basically professional pilots now because we've become very enthusiastic about RC airplanes. So just so you know, that's what's happening. We might start another channel about us crashing airplanes. Which would be pretty cool. So this week's gonna be great, guys. We got good stuff going on. Mr. Sheets is putting the KX500 back together. We're waiting on gaskets and a top end bearing. Then I think that's actually gonna be it, which is kind of amazing. Super stoked about that. Check this thing out too. He's got one of these on here, which if you've ever seen one of these, comment below. Not that many people know about these, but E-Line used to make external like stators that would bolt on and you could get lights out of this thing. So this is actually a street legal, I think. I don't know if it's actually street legal or not, but anyway, it's got lights on it, KX500, which is pretty crazy. But we got Mr. Abbott's WR250F all back together. Brady got done with that suspension. We took the suspension from it and a YZ250 and my kid's YZ125 down to Oklahoma. He took care of that stuff for us while we were there, and now we're putting it back together. So speaking of that, the YZ125/144 I think is going to be going back together this weekend. Thomas is going to be out here helping me, so we'll be filming that as a separate part of the YZ144 build. But we got the suspensions all decked out, revalves, resprung, everything for him. We got the frame sad sitting over there. I will be filming putting steering head bearings in that. And then we've got all the linkage bearings are replaced. I got to do the swing arm bearings. Motor's ready to go. Yeah, then we're ready to rock and roll. So that's all good. We'll be putting that back together very soon. Like I said, Thomas is going to be doing that. He has not been able to be here working on the motor and stuff like that just because of school and timing just hasn't been right. But we're going to have him down here putting the whole thing back together. Motor in the frame, forks on it, link, anyway, all that good stuff. So, yeah. What else? Oh, I think the saga of the YZ85 is actually going to end this week, so stay tuned to this video. I think we finally have the final part and it's gonna be good and gone, and then it's actually gonna be for sale because the guy's so mad about it and his kid has actually outgrown it since it's been here for so long waiting on parts and stuff like that. So if anybody out there wants a completely brand new motored YZ85, let me know. Yeah, so we'll get back at it, guys. Alright guys, so first for me today is rebuilding the master cylinder on the old YZ250 here. It's just a little bit spongy. It's not horrible, but it's not great. That is from an 08 YZ because I switched the forks to an 08 forks and I had to get 08 anyway stuff. So it's probably never been rebuilt. So I figured you guys would like to watch that being done up close and personal. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this thing off and we'll get over to the bench with it. I'll show you guys how we rebuild those things. Alright guys, so we got the master cylinder off. It's obviously super dirty. What we're going to do now is I'm going to take everything apart and get it ready, put it in the ultrasonic, get this thing super shiny and ready to go for the rebuild kit. Alright, so to get these things apart, you gotta kinda just pop that thing out, and then these, since we've got a new one to go in it, we don't need to be too careful with it, but they like to tear pretty easily, so if you gotta reuse this thing, make sure you're careful. Now, let's see, I can get in there. There we go. So you can see you got a snap ring in there. Go get our snap ring pliers and pop that out. There we go. There's our piston. Now we'll get this cap off. There we go. Everything's apart. Let's take this, put it in the ultrasonic, give it a little bath, let it cook for a little while, then we'll come back, install our rebuild kit, put it back on, bleed it, and hopefully have a really good brake. Alright, got our stuff out of the ultrasonic spa. Nice and shiny and clean. Thing about using the ultrasonic cleaner, as you guys know if you've watched this channel for very long, I love it, but when you're done you really need to make sure you spray everything out with brake cleaner and then blow it dry, because that water, if it stays in there, it will corrode lots of things. So I want to make sure we get everything super dry. So, I'm going to be using not my favorite rebuild kit, but it's the rebuild kit I have. One of the reasons it's not my favorite is it doesn't come with a whole new piston assembly. It comes with just seals, and honestly, I've had issues getting these things on there without tearing them before. So, we're going to do our best to try not to do that today. But it does come with a new spring, new seals, new circlip, new washers, clutch washers, which is nice, and new, well, one new screw. I don't know where the other one is, but that's fine. Oh, yeah, there we go. Individually packaged screws. There we go. So it doesn't really matter how you take these things off, so we'll just take off that. But it does bear mentioning that paying attention where each one goes is important, because they are two different seals, they're two different diameters, but it's real important that you put these seals on the right way, the way they came off. But if you think about it, this is getting pushed by the little plunger, this guy, this way. So it's getting pushed in this way, so the seal needs to go. Let's see if you guys can see this. So yeah, the seal needs to go that way. You can see it's cupped. So it pushes the fluid this way. One way to avoid damaging a little bit of grease or a lot of grease. Lubrication is your friend. I'm just gonna push it on without the use of any sharp tool, because that is the best way to mess this up. So I'm going to take this little guy, which you can see is not sharp. Try to, there we go. Now that's ready. We need to look inside here, and I can't really show you guys with this camera, but it looks pretty good. But what I like to do is put a crosshatch in there, like I do with everything that's shiny at all. Get in here. Grab a screwdriver. Kind of run this guy. Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm gonna get back to that brake here in just a little bit. Been lots of people coming in and me being way chatty, but I just have something to show you guys. So with this beautiful 2018 300 6 days, absolutely gorgeous motorcycle, and the complaint, it's this kid's bike. He'd saved up all of his money. I say kid, he's just younger than me, but that's most people. So he saved up all his money and bought it. He's been loving it. He rode it somewhere up near Gunnison. Anyway, parked it for a little while and came back to ride it, and it wasn't running very good. It wouldn't rev. He's like, oh man, so he thought it was a JD thing, so he bought the JD jetting kit, put that in it, didn't fix it, bought V-Force reeds, put it in it, didn't fix it, so he brought it to me, and I have really good news for him. I don't know if he watches this. He's going to find out before he sees it anyway, but a little something to know about KTMs with the Enduro Engineering spark arrestors on them. When this looks like this, you cannot see through this thing. I'm going to see if I can, like, replicate there. You kind of focus. There we go. It looks like that. Yeah. They don't run so good. So, yeah. I'm pretty excited. I bet this thing runs a lot better when I do it. Let's just try it out here real fast. Whee! Yay! That's a lot better. That's awesome. So that's super cool, easy fix. So just so you guys know, I like the Enduro Engineering spark arrestor end caps because they're cheap and you can get, legal. And they're really cool because you can take these things out and clean them, or you can like accidentally poke a giant hole in them and have a spark arrestor without having the problem. But if you really want to have an actual spark arrestor and be legal and not have to worry about cleaning this thing or buying new ones, the FMF turbine core is the only way to go, because these things do this all the time and it doesn't take much time. The thing only has like 50 or 60 hours on it, and so anyway, the other thing you can do is if you jet it a little bit leaner and all that, you can get it running like really crisp and clean. This won't happen as fast, but it will still happen. So anyway, and update, guys, very excited. The YZ85 is done. Zach Sheets has conquered the YZ85. And we're really excited about that. Super stoked. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, really happy about that. So, all right, guys, so I got an interesting one for you here. This WR that Mr. Sheets is working on, it's been running great for this lady. She's been riding, having a ton of fun, and she was riding up Eagle Valley, and she got up to the top, so out of all the hard stuff, and she just tipped over, hit the ground, no big deal, picked the bike up, and it wouldn't start, and it hasn't started since. So I was like, that's weird. I thought, well, it's got a Baja Designs light kit and ignition, like key switch kit and stuff like that on it. I thought, well, maybe it pinched one of those wires or something like that. It seems like one of the most plausible issues. Well, Zach was working on it, and he got the stator wires out here because, well, first of all, he took it apart, got the spark plug out, no spark. I'm like, oh, that's weird. I'm sure he tried a new spark plug. I don't know. But anyway, he's over there. Who knows what Zach did? He probably didn't hit it with a hammer. Actually, look. He hit it with a hammer right there. So, no. But, so he's testing the stator because, no spark. And he, as I walked in this morning, it's morning, by the way, he told me he didn't have any resistance, or it was offline, no connection, no continuity on the trigger coil. I'm like, it's weird for it to fall over and have the stator go bad, or part of the stator go bad. So looking at it, and bing, right there, from where the radiator, that goes right back in there. You can see the radiator's not straight anymore, but anyway, it hit that thing and bam, broke that wire. So stoked we found it. She had actually taken this to another shop, and I have a feeling they were going to get her a stator, but she brought it, long story anyway, she brought it to me, and I'm really happy because Zach and I found that, and we're super stoked to save her a bunch of money, which is really cool. So That's rad. So anyway, back to the 6 days that had the clogged screen. Let me show you how we clean. Let me show you how we clean these. So Enduro Engineering sells new ones of these. I do recommend, if you have an end cap, from them to have a couple of these, because you can only do this a few times before you have to replace it anyway. But yourself a pair of channel locks. Get the blue wrench. It's like the space shuttle on re-entry. Haha. God, look at that. Probably ought to put your safety squints on for this too, because it's spraying stuff everywhere. And there you go. See right through it. Problem solved. Alright guys, so back to rebuilding the master cylinder. We got everything all cleaned up, all dried off. Everything's ready to go. We have the piston rebuilt with new seals. I'm gonna clean that. There we go. Now, here's the thing. So they send you a new, like, little bellows to kind of keep everything out of there. They send you a new circlip, which is nice. They don't send you a new one of these, so don't lose that. That's just basically a spacer. So what I like to do, take some grease, put it on these seals so that they slide in there nice. It goes spring in first. It's nice and easy. You don't want to go fast because you'll flip the seal up. You take the spacer, new circlip. This is where it's real handy to have a screwdriver or a vise, something like that, to hold it. Put the screwdriver through, and then we're going to push in. As we push down, make sure we get that circlip down in its home. There we go. Make sure everything moves smoothly. I like it. So, see, it moves nice and smooth. So I think we're good to go. Now we can take it, mount it back on the bike, and bleed it. Now I've filmed a fair number of bleeding videos. You guys should know by now, if you have watched any of my stuff, we put a syringe on the bottom and we fill that with fluid and we back bleed it up. And that's really important when you're starting, like this is completely dry, because it's really hard to get this to start moving fluid when it's super dry. So we're going to take the syringe like normal, hook it up to the bleeder, zip tie it to the fork, and we're going to push fluid up, like down, and then up the line into this and fill it up. So if that bled, we'll move on to the next job. All right, guys. So the next job is here. By the way, look at Zach Sheets' face. He's got tons of facial hair still. His wife clearly has submitted and is just letting him have the beard that he's always wanted. So next job, guys, I got something to show you that I think you're gonna find interesting. Let me so we got a set of forks from a KTM, a 13 450 SX, and they were sent to us by a friend of ours up in Crested Butte, and so that's how it's supposed to sit, and it does this. Something has come apart in there. Hopefully it's not all jacked up. I'm gonna find out. They were valved by someone. He did not tell me who. We're not going to go into that. But hopefully nothing got messed up. Hopefully everything is okay. But yeah, let's take these apart and see how bad it is. So, if you guys know anything about forks, this should not be coming out all by itself. Well, it might mostly be okay, which is good, but that right there, that's not awesome. So, I think this guy got super lucky. I think we're going to be able to save this thing. That is not super bad, but I think it's going to work. So, we'll... Hold on. Let me see what you guys can see here. Alright, so you can see how it's all marred up and we lost a little piece of it here, but if you look in there, you can see that that piece that it goes over is longer and deeper than the part that's broken off. So I think if we clean this up and get it, and we could definitely get a new one of these, but he wants it back sooner rather than later. And I think if we clean this up really good, since it hasn't lost any like overall distance, I think we should be all right. And it might end up meaning if it's a little bit short, all it would mean is that he's going to turn the clickers in a little bit more to get the same. So here's a good reason why you always count clicks from all the way in to out. Okay, it's because even though that is like that, as long as we close the valve by going all the way in, click, 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 all the way in, and then we come out a certain amount, you're getting the right clicker adjustment. Now, if you measured from all the way out in and you had something like this, you wouldn't get the right clicker measurement. But since we're going all the way closed and then coming out, it'll be the same no matter what. So that is one more reason to measure it that way. So I think this didn't get messed up too bad. Let's make sure it threads on there. Alright guys, I think amazingly enough they got super lucky, so I'm going to dress this thing up on the grinder and then polish it up so it's all good. Finally, I think I'm going to stop working on the YZ pretty soon. I've been having so much fun, honestly, working on this thing and doing the electric start and getting the brake. I just love working on stuff and making it better. It's awesome. But last thing I'm going to do is, well, I say the last thing I'm going to do. The last big thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to replace this clutch hub, because if we take a look, focus. There we go. You can see those notches. They're not crazy deep, but they are there. So I got myself a cool guy, Hinson. They did not give me this one. They gave me the basket, and I so appreciate it, and I love the way that's been working. So I'm going to put their inner hub in. It's all cool guy, billet CNC machined, and should hold up really well. So I'm going to drop that in here. I'm not going to show you guys how to put this clutch in. I've filmed lots of clutch videos, so I'm going to drop this thing in, and then we'll take it for a test ride and see how it is. Because the reason I'm doing this is that the clutch works great in most situations, but when it gets really hard, like the terrain gets really hard, and you're needing to really be delicate with the clutch and get the engagement just right, there's like this funky engagement. It's like too abrupt, and it just doesn't feel right. So since the basket's new, the clutch plates are new, this is the only thing left that could be causing any kind of weird problem. So we're going to put this thing in there, get the oil back in it, and we'll go take it for a test ride, and I'll let you guys know how it works. Just want to bring you in on something that Zach and I are having a ton of fun with right now. So Zach was taking apart this KDX 220, and as he was removing the cylinder, he heard something fall. This is where it breaks down, because he heard it fall. He doesn't know what it fell on. It could have been the lift. It could have been the floor. It's about the only thing. I guess it could hit the frame or something like that. But it was a little locating pin, a little dowel pin that goes right there. We think it was that. We're not 100% sure. It's not there. So we're currently looking. If you have ever worked in a shop or have a shop or a shed or whatever you worked on, I know you've felt this feeling. It's really frustrating. And we're definitely gonna find it. We have looked in the motor. It's not there. We feel good about that, so that's good. But yeah, we're currently looking. Okay, guys. So I don't think we actually lost the little pin. I think we found out what actually dropped. It was not the pin. There was something else on the lift. I won't go into what that was because it was kind of a big thing. Zach probably should have noticed falling, but we won't go into that. But I think it's going to all make sense here. So this is the KDX. I don't know if you guys remember from way back, probably almost a year ago. This gentleman brought me this KDX because it wouldn't run right, and he had the piston in backwards. So he took it, he sent the cylinder out to Millennium, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. Got it back. It still wouldn't run. It would run better, but it wouldn't rev. And so he's been messaging me, I don't know what's wrong about it, okay. And so he finally brought it down, and I'm like, all right, let's take a look. So we looked. Zach went through the carburetor, went through the power valve on the outside, and it was like not working. The power valve wasn't doing what it's supposed to do. So I was like, huh, okay. It wasn't moving under load. So the reason we're taking the cylinder off is to look at the power valve and stuff. And I think this makes sense because the reason we thought the pin was the thing missing was because when we flipped the cylinder over, one of the dowel pins was not there. Starting to make sense because if we look here at the power valve, see where's your Nebo? There it is. So we look right in there, and over there to the right, well, what's that? And there's nothing in the middle. Oh, there's a bolt. So there we go. That was not in there, and the power valve flappy guy wasn't moving. Anyway, so that's why it's not revving. Didn't get that bolt back in there. Now he said that Millennium was the one who did that, so maybe Millennium is the one who didn't get that thing done. But anyway, either way, we figured out why it's not running, and I feel like that's probably why there's not another dowel pin. It's probably just wasn't ever in there. So anyway, woohoo! Got it figured out. Got to order some gaskets and a dowel pin, and then we'll be good to go. Right on, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's Shlog. We're to the end. I got the YZ all done and ready to rock and roll. The clutch feels awesome now. I've tested it around just here, and it feels really good. So I'm pretty well done working on it. I think we're ready to go, but it's kind of looking a little rough. So I think it might be time to spruce her up a little bit. Let me see what I can do here. Boom! There we go. That looks a lot better. Big thanks to Sean Murdoch at Decal Works for the new plastics, guys. Thank you so much. I love the way this is looking. It looks basically like it did before, but now we got blue backgrounds, or blue plastic instead of white, and the bike's looking great. So, guys, thanks so much for joining me for this week's Shlog. I hope you guys like that. Make sure you give a thumbs up, otherwise that guy over there is going to start throwing crap at me. Look at him. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Hope you like this stuff. I desperately hope you get out and spread the gospel of two wheels. And as always, you know what I'm going to say. I hope that what we're doing here is inspiring you guys to work on and get out and ride your dirt bikes.